Okay, we'll call the regular meeting council to order at 3 p.m. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Cooey that council adopt the agenda for the regular council meeting on June 28th as amended to include item 6.5 being the Community Vitality Advisory Committee applicant.
I will give you that motion with that amendment, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Moore that the following are adopted by omnibus motion in accordance with Council's procedure bylaw, the June 14th regular meeting minutes, June 14th special meeting minutes, and the strategic priorities chart.
I will make that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Yep. All in favor? Sorry, Carol?
Mayor Snodgrass.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just for the public, if there's anyone watching, Chris, can you just mention what the funding decision regarding the pedestrian bridge study, that part of the chart, please?
Keep forgetting about unmuting myself. So thank you, Councillor McMillan. Certainly we received a letter of approval, which from FCM that we got a portion of the money for doing the feasibility for a Northwest Bridge pedestrian bridge connection, about $34,000. It wasn't our full ask, and we're still waiting on the contract to come in and the formal announcements from FCM and the federal government. So, but that's part of the good news.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. Motion on the floor, all in favor? Carried. No public comments, Jody?
No, there are no public comments.
Thank you. High River Youth Park Task Force update. I don't know who's presenting this. Janelle, Amanda, Sarah's here.
Yeah. Hi, bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. So my name is Sarah Brunsman. I'm here today to give you an update on the High River Youth Park. I'm here today as a member of the United Way High River Partnership and co-chair of the Youth Park Task Force. I have Levi Gramblica with me here today, and he's a member of the task force as well. And the rest of our task force is watching through Zoom. So the United Way High River Partnership, as you know, was bequeathed $200,000 from a High River citizen named Mr. Brian Perry. The committee, the United Way Partnership, felt strongly that they wanted to use the funds to create a legacy project that would have a huge impact on the community. Shelley Coote came to us with the idea of the youth park at 1204 10th Avenue, and the committee jumped on the opportunity.
Sorry, Sarah. If oh, there we go. Now we got it. All good.
What's on? Can you see my screen?
We can now, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I should have checked.
Sarah, it's Levi's screen. Levi's sharing screen.
Okay, thanks, Levi. As per the direction of Council on August 10th, 2020, we put together a youth park task force. We received several applications from youth in the community, and by the end of September 2020, we had a motivated working group made up of United Way High River Partnership committee members, 3 Town of High River representatives, a BCG Foothills Club staff person, a community youth advocate, and 5 incredible youth. Social media platforms were created for the task force for both Facebook and Instagram. The group has met bi-weekly for pretty much the last 10 months, and after several brainstorming sessions, we did community engagement work that I'm going to let Levi speak to.
All right, so we surveyed High River youth to learn about what they wanted for the mini putt area and found that 69% wanted to change the mini putt into something new and 31% wanted to keep the mini putt. The youth were also asked if the mini putt were to be changed to something new, would they spend their time there? And 71% said yes. Based on the feedback from the youth, the task force decided to remove the mini putt and make the space into a park, as well as research a multi-sport court.
So as Levi mentioned, the majority of the youth wanted to change the park up. We knew that the youth wanted to remove the mini putt, and after research, we found that it was likely not salvageable without putting a large amount of our funds into refurbishing it. So the decision was made to scrap it. The youth task force got together several times to clean up the area and remove the turf from the mini putt holes, which needed to be done in order for the concrete to go to the scrapping yard. Next, the Town of High River operations team stepped in to remove all but 3 of the concrete holes. This work saved the task force a large amount of money that we can now put towards other exciting projects. The 3 holes that remain will be repurposed into barbecue pits and picnic table locations. We have purchased a Wi-Fi bench and have plans to paint the existing picnic tables, and we'll add garbage receptacles. We hope to have lights placed throughout the site. The High River United Way Partnership will be placing a plaque on a large rock at the entrance of the park, recognizing Mr. Brian Perry's contribution to our community. We are hoping to have the new landscaping completed by the end of July and the sport court in place by the fall, so the area can be used this winter. This will be High River's first multi-use sport court, which is an accessible facility so everyone will be able to use it. And we've worked with the Town of High River operations and Town of High River Parks and Rec to ensure that the materials that we use are fitting within the scope for their ongoing care and maintenance. After doing our due diligence, we have awarded the landscaping contract and are on the cusp of awarding the contract for the multi-use sport court. And today we were hopeful that we would receive council's blessing to award the sport court contract without another presentation to council, as it will be awarded over the summer break. And then once the landscaping and sport court are completed, we hope to finish up the project by adding a rainbow crosswalk, lights, and fire pits. Upon completion of the project, we will host a COVID-friendly grand opening ceremony to celebrate the new space that High River youth can call their own. Thank you.
Fantastic. That looks awesome. Well done, you guys. Questions from council? Councilor Masterman.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Snodgrass, and thanks to Taylor and Sarah as well. Are we getting echo here, Craig? Can you hear me okay? Okay, sorry. I just wanted to say what a tremendous project, and what a lot of great positive energy behind that, and what a great asset to High River, and not just for the young people, but for everybody in High River. Like, just to have that bloody mini putt taken out that was just horrible, and to have a multi-sport park like this. I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you, and also thanks to the Parks and Rec and Ops and everybody else involved in this project. It's just very, very exciting, and thank you.
Councillor McMillan.
Thank you very much, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you very much, Sarah and Levi and Amanda and the entire youth task force. This is just so exciting when community groups get things done. And I just have to say, this is such a great asset for High River, and I really appreciate all of the work you've done. And Levi, you did an absolutely fantastic job presenting. Well done.
Councillor Cooey.
Thanks very much. Going to echo similar sentiments. So excited to see some redevelopment of that area. I think 8 years ago, we were talking about this area and how do we revitalize it? And what's more important, what I think is most important, I think us, we're at fault, as many municipalities are, we think we know what the youth want, but in this case, I hope the youth feel that they were well heard and engaged and that this really is their project. And for me, that's the most exciting, is that their voice was heard and that they're going to see that put into action. So thank you to, again, to Sarah and Amanda and all of the youth, Levi and everyone on that committee for this. I look forward to seeing everyone having some fun and finally using that area. So thanks very much.
So yeah, again, thanks to all of you. And yeah, I agree, Levi. Fantastic presentation. You're a pro, man. Like, I could turn you into a consultant for a lot of our delegations as to how to do a presentation properly. You nailed it. So there's a motion that's coming out of this as well in just a second. But you know, when we first started talking about that, the mini putt and what to do and whether to keep it and everything else, these things become a real overwhelming thing. And I'm really glad that we shifted the decision-making over to your group because you've nailed it and you've covered off so many things in this. And I just think it's fantastic, the work that you've done. Sarah and Amanda leading this, like, fantastic again. So I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor McMillan that Council approve the Youth Park Task Force's recommendation to award the landscaping contract to Dirty Birdie Landscaping and Maintenance in the amount of $48,890, excluding GST, to complete the work as outlined in the contract for the youth park located at 1204 10th Avenue, High River.
I am delighted to give you that motion.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Get at her. Well done. Thanks very much to all of you. Okay, next one, resident request to write off utility transfer fees.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
This is good. All right. I'm ready.
You go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank you for listening to me today. And please excuse me for reading my presentation. It's the only way I won't exclude information required. Let me give you some background as to what has transpired that finds me here today. My husband, Donald Doothright, and I, very long time standing residents of High River, are not in High River for 5 to 6 months of the year. This has been our practice for the last 12 years. Last fall, we departed High River on October 21st, and as per Canadian government regulations, returned to High River in April 28th of 2021. When we arrived home and we sorted through our mail, we discovered 4 tax notices from the town. They are dated November 3rd, 2020, January 6th, 2021, March 8th, 2021, and May 4th, 2021. Imagine our surprise and confusion to discover our utility bills from November 2020 to May 2021 were in arrears, and this amount had been moved from utility bills to our taxes, incurring 1.5% penalty, 6 of them, plus 2 times $80 transfer fees. Allow me to state here, we have never been late in our utility bills or our taxes in the 21 years that we have been on this property. It's a source of pride with us that we pay our bills on time. After much investigation, we came to find out that the email address, of which the town had said that they have 2 of, but they only used the 1, was being sent to an email address that we do not use. How, you might well ask, did we receive the bill by email from 2016 until this incident in 2020? Well, what happened was the TELUS email address the town was using was automatically being transferred to a Google address that we checked daily, and the bill would arrive. Apparently, to some dispute between TELUS and Google, this automatic transfer from the unused email address to the one being used did not occur. We were not the only ones that have been found ourselves in this problem. We simply did not receive our utility bills. Should we have noticed we weren't receiving the town of High River utility bills? Yes, we should have, but perhaps excuse it as a senior moment, we did not. We immediately paid the $616.92 owing on the unpaid utility bills, plus the 1.5% penalty. We have also paid our recent tax bill, but not the 2 times $80 transfer fees. Why 2 times $80 transfer fees? Why not 1 transfer fee? I could understand that, to have it put over to your taxes, your utility bills in arrear. I get that. Or for the 4 billing periods, why wasn't there 1 on each billing period? If there was 1 on each billing period, the 1.5% penalty plus the $80 transfer fee would result in an almost 30% interest charge. Why were we not contacted by another method of communication? The second email address, the phone? We have been told that a letter was sent to notify us that this was going to happen. Where was it sent to? Because we didn't get it in Canada Post when we got home. There was no letter. I can only surmise it was sent to the same useless email address that the utility bills were going to. Through this process, we have been in touch with several town employees and Councilman Bruce Masterman. Apparently, no one has the authority to remove these 2 times $80 transfer fees. Everyone has been really polite and helpful in trying to resolve this matter. I wanted you to know that, Craig, that they have been just great. In summary, yes, we should have realized we were not receiving our town of High River utility bills. However, we believe that the town might have realized something was amiss when a customer of 21 years who had never missed a utility payment suddenly stopped paying, and that they would have tried another mode of communication. I also wish to emphasize that 2 times $80 or $160 transfer fee is ridiculously high on a $616.92 bill. I'm here today to ask for the removal of the $160 2 times 80 transfer fee off our tax bill. Not knowing why the bylaw 4562/2019 was put into effect, I can only assume it was not meant as a cash cow at the expense of long-term residents of High River. Aren't we, after all, a small town with a big heart? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from council? Councillor Masterman.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass, and Casey, thanks so much for the presentation. And yes, I'm sorry I didn't have the power to do that. I wish I had, but I did have just a quick question for Chris. And Chris, how come it would be 2 payments at $80 each rather than just 1?
Yeah, Councillor Masterman, through Mayor Snodgrass to you. It's how our bylaw is worded. Our bylaw has this $80 transfer fee for utilities under, I guess it's under the TIPS bylaw that allows that transfer to take place, and it occurs over each billing period. So the maximum that could actually be billed out on any given year is $480. So 6 times by 80. that could be a penalty from that perspective. And we're taking a look at that. To be fair, I don't know the rationale, the justification why that was worded that way, besides the fact that it may be a consistent best practice across other municipalities. But it is, potentially in my view, potentially punitive, and does not necessarily reflect the actual cost to do that actual transfer. And rule of thumb, when we talk about any costs that are attributable in addition to the penalty, and let's be clear, there's also the 1.5% penalty that's applied as well. This transfer fee should actually reflect what the actual cost to do the work should be. It should not be a cash cow, and it needs to reflect what the actual cost. And the debate also should be taking place whether or not it should be done after every 4 or 6 times a year, or at the end of the year when it still remains in arrears. And so it's about changing the process and how we do that. So, that's something we'll take a look at when we take a look at all our bylaws as part of the budget process that affect finance. So that would be the reason why.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris, and I appreciate your frankness too in talking about that. I'm just wondering, how many of these do we get in a year, and like how many transfer fees do we end up charging to residents of High River for non-payment?
That I can't answer currently, but our manager of financial services, I believe, is on the call as well, or on the meetings, and maybe she might have that data readily available, but we can get you that if we don't have it today.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. If you'd like me to answer that, I could talk very high level. We collect about $65,000 to $80,000 a year within transfer fees from our utilities to taxes. It is not a cash cow. I do understand that we do have some other transfers that happen that is based on our per cost. Like when we do a transfer for a tax sale, that is done on our actual cost plus 10% for our administration time. We can definitely look into that. Our current policy, our current rates, which are in our rate bylaw, are based on surrounding municipalities in comparison. So when we get to the next report, we can discuss that, or we can talk about it right now if you'd like. We actually have decreased our transfer fees over the past few years. But we are definitely willing to look at incorporating the actual cost of our transfer fees.
Thanks, Leanne.
McMillan.
Thank you very much, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you, Leanna, and thank you very much, Casey, for your presentation. I do think this is kind of an extra punitive situation, because with this particular resident paying the interest and also readily paying their bill, and also, Casey, like I did hear you mention a little bit that you definitely don't understand the rationale behind 2 transfer fees, and I completely support that. But I guess in maybe the sake of a compromise, maybe 1. But I guess I'm really thinking to myself, what are don't we have any checkpoints in our system that does acknowledge that, well, this is kind of strange, this is a long-standing resident who's never been in arrears? Like, I know we can't go through a fine-tooth comb, but it's kind of like when we come across these little decimal point errors that go into the system and end up causing issues. So what kind of checkpoints do we have?
That's a really good question, Councillor McMillan. And I think besides the fact that we have to put, and we do put eyes on it, it's seeing the abnormalities on a regular basis. And nothing on a software perspective that we have can solve that problem or send up a red flag. It is all manual. And it comes down to the fact that every 2 months we're going through about 6,500 utility counts within our finance department. So you may catch one or two, but then there may be others that you miss. And so it's not a complete science, so to speak. There's no red flags that will pop up with software systems that say they paid they paid for the last 20 years on time, all those types of things. There's nothing that we have within our software package that helps us with that. It's human practice where we're putting our eyes on things and on the bills that are going out. So, and that's going through all 6,500 thereabouts accounts.
Because I really understand Casey's position, because in this day and age that there's multiple ways to reach out and communicate with cell phones. And I'm also speaking to the whole Google TELUS migration, because we had that happen and I missed quite a few emails during that whole migration between Google and TELUS. So I do feel that Casey and her husband are being penalized. I like the fact that she's taken the time to reach out to council and express things in a very professional manner, not complaining about the process. But I just think that I'm just shaking my head on this one, because I just think to myself, like, I don't know, when there's other ways to contact, because I think as a municipality, we should be caring about our outstanding invoices. And I know it's probably like, I don't know if we're short-staffed or I don't know, but I'm a little bit confused that there wouldn't be a little bit of a checkpoint.
Okay, no further questions from council on the delegation itself. So thanks very much, Casey. And, I think it's, you've brought forward something that council absolutely needs to revisit this bylaw and chew on it and discuss it and see where we're going forward. So thanks very much for attending today, and we'll move on into the next one with Leanna. So thanks, Casey.
Okay, so I will hear in the results, will I, the next little while?
Yeah, possibly okay. Just in the next direction after we hear from Leanna here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All yours, Leanna.
Well, we could, if you'd like, I can give you a little bit more history of what had happened. Our finance staff had reached out to this property owner. We did not get any emails that were saying that they were bouncing back. Maybe our due diligence is we didn't pick up the phone call, but with 6,500 residents, property owners, we don't have the time to make 6,500 phone calls every 2 months. We maybe need to scrutinize this a little bit closer to ensure that we are ensuring that our residents that are normally paying on time and maybe just doing a double check. We are a caring community. And that is one of the things that I love working here. And this is why all of our residents live here, is because we are a caring community. So our practice is we only transfer when they are 2 billing cycles behind. So that's why they only had 2 transfer fees and they didn't have 4 transfer fees. Our best practice is we only transfer every 2 times, or after the 2 bills behind, where if we were going to do it every billing cycle, we could do that according to the bylaw. But we are going with best practices of what other communities do, is we only transfer it every 2 months. So we still do charge the penalties on a monthly basis when they are in arrears. And as you see, going back to 2013, we started as a transfer fee of $75 per billing transfer, and or not per billing, but per transfer. And up to 2018, we were actually at $88.05. This is when administration had come back to council saying we thought that this fee was a little excessive. And when we brought the rate bylaw back to council, we had dropped it to $80. And that was more comparable to our surrounding community members. And as you know, that administration does not have the authorization to reverse penalties unless it's due to administrative error. And anything that has to do with taxes actually has to come back to council to be written off or reversed. And anybody have any questions?
Councilor Masterman.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Snodgrass, and Leanna, thank you very much. That's a good explanation. And I'm just curious. So, for a transfer fee of $80 every 2 months, what would the real cost be to the town of High River to I don't know what I'm trying to say, to actually impose the transfer fee and to deal with the non-payment? Like is that a realistic, like there's already late fees being charged? And I appreciate that, council was the one that approved this. I'm just trying to kind of wrap my head around this, Leanna. What kind of the true cost would be?
I don't have a true cost off the top of my head. I do have an accounting clerk's time, the accounting supervisor's time, and then any discussion with the manager's time that we would need to calculate in. If we were saying that we were not going to transfer those ones, to practice between the accounting clerk and the supervisor. So I don't know the exact dollar amount for what the transfer fee, but it's administrative time right now. And one of the things that we would have to calculate in there, if there was any tip fees that were returned, or tip payments that were returned, that we would actually have to calculate that to put that back into the calculation as well.
Okay, thanks very much.
Councillor Cooey.
Thanks very much, Leanna, as well, and also Casey. I had to quickly look to make sure, because I was the same Google Transfer, to make sure had I paid my my bill with the town and was I receiving them. And I have bad internet connection, so you probably can't hear me. I guess I'm just curious, because this wasn't a case of the homeowner changing their email and not acknowledging or letting the town know. It was somewhat out of our control. They assumed that they were going to continue to come together seamlessly. If we were considered, and we also not want to set a precedence that we need to be careful not to set a precedence going forward, but I wonder if council would consider meeting them in the middle and only doing the $180 transfer fee. I'm hoping you heard some of that, if not all of it.
We heard all of it. Leanna, do you want to answer that? Or?
Administration can work with whatever council decides. The one thing that we do caution is this could be precedent setting. We do have some residents that do have multiple transfers throughout the year. And if we are going to be looking at the tip bylaw and coming back to council with actual costs, or we'd be looking probably in the fall with the budget cycle.
Okay, I think we can isolate this one and we will deal with this one. As you know, I'm never worried about precedent setting with stuff like this. We deal with these one-off. So next question from Carol McMillan.
Thank you. And I completely support Councillor Cooey's request. I think that's a fair compromise. And I don't think that we will all of a sudden have this big rash of people. I agree with you, Mayor Snodgrass. Like, I think this is what makes High River a great place, is that we're willing to listen to people. It's not just, well, this is the bylaw. And also, Leanna and your team, I appreciate your flexibility because, you know, you've got a council that does think outside the box and cares, just like you said, we're a very caring community. So I thank everyone for their input with this. But I like the fact that that's what's something that's made me very pleased with being on council, is we're willing to listen to people.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there that's not paying their utilities and you're a chronic abuser of this, well, don't waste your time coming to a delegation. This is much different than Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Yeah, I'll echo your comments. It's obvious that this person has been a good resident for many, many years, paying their bills on time. And I would support Kathy Cooey's suggestion about meeting in the halfway with the one-time $80 charge. I'd also use this opportunity to encourage people to sign up on the TIPS program. That works very, very well. It's an automatic thing. You can be anywhere in the world, and your water bills and tax bills and that sort of thing will all be paid here in High River. So I encourage people to sign up for TIPS as well. Thank you.
Councillor Masterman?
No, I'm good. Jamie just said basically what I was going to say. Thank you.
Leanna, what's the address this is located at? Sorry, I was going through the agenda trying to find it.
My apologies. I just need to. Oh, I've redacted the address.
Yeah.
I can get that information to you after the council meeting if you'd like. I just don't have it here in front of me.
Well, I've got a motion that I'd like to propose, but I wouldn't mind having the address. Casey, you're still on there. What's your address?
Okay, can you hear? Oh, I'm muted now. Can you hear me now?
We got you. What's your address?
17 Tongue Road. And I just wanted to say the reason that I haven't signed up for the automatic withdrawal, I gather that's what TIPS is, the automatic withdrawal from your bank account, is simply because when I had to deal with the bank before and stop an automatic payment, there is a charge on each and every account that you stop payment on. So if I was to move, I would have to pay the utilities, I would have to pay the whatever other outstanding bills I have, and that adds up. But there is a charge at the bank to discontinue that service.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to ask for a motion from, and this can be amended if you wish. I'm going to ask for a motion from Councillor Masterman that council directs administration to write off the amount of $160 for address at 17 Tongue Road, High River, Alberta, regarding the utility transfer fees.
Yes, I'd be happy to make that motion.
Questions, comments from council? Councillor Cooey?
You're muted, Councillor Cooey.
Sorry, I was trying to back up my agenda here to make sure. What was the number you said? I'm sorry.
I said $160.
And the full that we were asking was $240?
No, it's 160. It's 160.
60. Okay, sorry. I was looking at this and the numbers weren't adding up. So the motion says 160?
$160, the full amount.
Can I am in the right point of order, sorry, to ask for an amendment to that to $80.
Yep. Motion on the floor is for an amendment to $80. Discussion on that motion only. Councillor Masterman.
Sorry. So I don't have to accept that as a friendly amendment or anything?
Well,
it's just, or is it a new motion?
No, I'd rather have a vote on this one.
Okay. So I guess I just wanted to make the point really quickly, and Casey, you mentioned this several times in your presentation, that you should have noticed, and so I really appreciate that you admitted that and I think it's sort of you know, we get similar things coming from landlords who say, you know, you know, when we discover a problem with a water billing or something, and we've undercharged somebody, and the landlord, you know, hasn't come to us and said, you know, I'm paying way less, but they'll sure come to us when they find out they're paying way more than I guess all I'm saying is, you know, I think this is a good lesson for all residents of High River, to keep up on things like this, and if you notice that a payment is not you know, coming off, or you're not getting a bill that you should be, and so anyway, I guess that I'm not really speaking to the motion.
No, I was just about to tell you that. Councillor McMillan speaking to the motion to amend to $80.
That's what I just wanted clarification. That's the motion that's currently on the table.
Correct.
Okay.
Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I like the original motion, so I am going to vote against the amendment.
Thank you. No further questions. Question on the floor is the motion to amend to $80. Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion passes to amend to $80. So the motion on the floor now is that council directs administration to write off the amount of $80 for address 17 Tongue Road, High River, Alberta. That's from Councilor Masterman. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. On to the next one, new niche columbarium. Oh, Veronica.
Good morning, or sorry, good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Time to get up.
It's been a busy day. I'm here to present to you today the request for quotation responses that we received for our request for quotation that closed on June 15th for a new columbarium in Highwood Cemetery. We went to council on April 26th to request a budget amendment in the amount of $70,000 to purchase a new columbarium for the Highwood Cemetery. And we received quotes back from 4 vendors. The 4 vendors are Alberta Wilbert Sales, KMI Columbaria, Rock of Ages, and Sunset Memorial and Stone. Administration is recommending the approval of awarding the request for quotation for a new 108 niche columbarium, style 4 with a Nylene niche from Sunset Memorial and Stone. Would you like me to go through the 4 style options that we asked for quotation on?
Council, do you need the style options? No? Nobody's in a rush to get into one of those things yet, so don't care too much. Do you want me to just share my screen quickly just to show Veronica sent me. I just asked, you know, what this thing's going to look like, so I can share my screen real quick. Everybody can see that. I don't know why it's not going to let me. That's it though. Whoops, it's being slow. That's more like what it'll look out there with the design. So I think it's fantastic.
It'll be two-tiered though. It won't be like a smooth top like that.
Right. It'll be back like this, right? With the
right.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be dynamite. It faces east and it faces west. That's what everybody wants. Nobody wants the north side on a columbarium.
Nope.
Too cold. Now, how do I get out of here? I got so many things. I'm trying to stop sharing. Thank you very much, Craig. Any further questions from council? Councillor McMillan?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Veronica. It's just, Mayor Snodgrass, you brought up an interesting point because I haven't ever thought about why do people not choose the north?
Because it's cold.
Like, is it?
No, everybody wants the sunrise or the sunset, and they like it facing south so that the sun always stays on it. It's just the thing. It always has been, always will be. You know, anybody that's spent their life in the country of Canada, by the time you're gone from this earth, you're kind of tired of that north wind, right?
Right. No, I've learned so much about this industry through like Veronica Pro-Chance as well as you, Mayor Snodgrass. So thanks. I just was kind of curious. I was wondering if it was something about luck or just you've explained it.
No, it's just exactly what it is. Yeah. Councillor Masterman.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. Councillor McMillan, you're about to learn something else. This is a silly question, but I need to know what a guillotine niche shutter is.
I don't have a clue.
Veronica?
It's over my technical head on columbariums.
Thank you, Councillor Masterman. So the current doors now have a granite door with the rosettes on the corner where you use a special tool to lock it in place. Whereas the guillotine shutter, there's grooves in the granite where the door slides into the grooves. And it doesn't actually have the rosettes on the four corners to hold the door in place. It's the grooves in the granite where they kind of slide it into those slots, so to speak.
So it doesn't remove digits or anything if you're trying to break in. Okay. Thank you. I was just wondering.
It's quite the description for the industry. I'll be honest with that. Anyways, it is what it is. That's fantastic, actually. If we don't have to use those screwdrivers operationally, that's excellent. No further questions? Ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk, the council direct administration to award the order for the new niche columbarium from Sunset Memorial in Stone in the amount of $47,658.83, not including GST and contingency.
I will give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks very much for all your work on that one, Veronica.
Thank you very much.
4th Avenue Southeast Main replacement change order. Kaylee.
Good afternoon, Mayor Snodgrass and Council. Before you today is a change order for the 4th Avenue Mains Replacement Project. If you remember last year, we had begun the project and we had some foundation concerns with some of the homes along 4th Avenue. ISL had completed structural assessments on the homes and 11 of the homes were determined to require shoring before the project would continue. Of the 11, 7 homes have signed off on the liability waiver form to have the town of High River install temporary shoring for the duration of this project. So before you with the change order is in the amount of $114,070 for the shoring. Additionally, there is an amount for $23,100, and that's for seismic monitoring. And we're putting that in place because we still have 4 homes that have not signed off on the liability form. And this will allow us to monitor the vibrations during construction to ensure we're staying within standard vibrations required during this type of construction.
Excellent. Thanks, Kaylee. It'd be nice to get past this one and that road done. So no questions from council. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that council authorize the mayor and CAO to approve the change order request for installation of temporary shoring to Shawnee Excavating and Trucking in the amount of $114,070 and the change order to MPE Engineering for seismic monitoring in the amount of $23,100 excluding GST and contingency.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I'll be more than happy to give you that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion carries. Thanks, Kaylee.
Thank you.
2021 election returning officer, Kieran.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. On December 14th, 2020, Council passed resolution number RC 188-2020, being the appointment of Kara Rusk, the role of returning officer, and Nicole Chappelle to the role of substitute returning officer for the 2021 municipal election. The previously appointed returning officer has left their position with the town of High River and is no longer able to fill the role of the returning officer for the 2021 municipal election. A returning officer must be appointed in order to receive nominations during the nomination period. Administration is recommending that Jody Hipkin be appointed to the role of returning officer and that Nicole Chappelle remain in the role of the substitute returning officer for the 2021 municipal election. If council agrees with the proposed recommendation, administration will proceed with the municipal election planning. I'm happy to answer any questions council may have.
Questions from council? Pretty much a housekeeping item, but I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Cooey that council appoint Jody Hipkin to the role of returning officer. Nicole Chappelle remains in the role of substitute returning officer for the 2021 municipal election. And the council rescind the resolution passed on December 14th, 2021, resolution RC 188-2020, being the appointment of Kara Rusk to the role of returning officer and Nicole Chappelle to the role of substitute returning officer for the 2021 municipal election.
I will give you that motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Kieran. On to 6.5, Community Vitality Advisory Committee applicant. Over to Jody, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, there are 2 vacancies on the Community Vitality Advisory Committee. Administration received 1 new application to this board. So that was back on May 20th, 2021. We received an application from David Abma to join CVAC. As noted in your council package, Mr. Abma was a volunteer firefighter with the High River Fire Department until he retired. He has also been a chairperson for the Youth Justice Committee and is a member of the Rotary Club of Alberta. Administration scheduled an interview with Mr. Abma on June 4th and invited our Community Vitality Advisory Committee town liaison, Janelle Kennedy, to be in attendance. Mr. Abma spoke of his work as an advocate of High River and the community and his desire to continue to give back. As a result of this interview, administration is supportive of this application and recommends Mr. Abma for appointment to CVAC. Are there any questions?
This one's an easy one. Councillor McMillan.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Jody. I'm just curious, what is the length of the term?
I believe this one is 2 years, but let me just double check because it was a bit of a different one. Yes, it is 2 years.
Okay. Thanks, Jody.
Councillor Masterman.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. I'll be very quick for a change. We all know Dave Abma, and I just didn't want this appointment to go without saying what a tremendous community person Dave is, and what a asset he's going to be to CVAC, which already has several very, very strong community-minded people. And so I just really wanted to thank Dave for putting his hand up and look forward to as council rep on CVAC. I don't know if we'll have another meeting before October, but I look forward to, if we do, I look forward to working with him and all the others. Thanks.
Thanks, Jody. Ask for a motion from Councillor Masterman, the council direct administration to appoint Mr. David Abma to the Community Vitality Committee for a 2-year term ending on October 31st, 2023.
Yes, I'm happy to make that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Councillor reports, coal policy. Well, you're seeing all the letters that are coming in. Bruce, you got anything to say?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I just got a notice during this meeting that the federal minister has ordered an environmental assessment of the Tent Mountain project, which is huge. We weren't sure if Tent Mountain is kind of the other one in the Crow's Nest Pass, Grassy Mountain being the one that was deep sixed about 2 weeks ago by the provincial federal joint review panel on behalf of the Alberta Energy Regulator. So this is big news. The thinking that what the minister said was basically he didn't trust that all the information that was needed to look at this application was could be looked at with anything other than a federal assessment, from environmental to the First Nations component and consultation. So there's this could well send a pretty strong signal to Montum, the company behind Tent Mountain, and all the other companies that are kind of waiting to see whether they're going to have to be under federal. Well, basically, they're all going to be under federal review now, and the thinking is that this is really going to cause all these companies to, especially in light of the Grassy, which had been in the works for 6 or 7 years, that is going to cause all the companies to think about just packing up. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. But I did just want to ask, I was very interested in seeing all those letters that we got from municipalities, and I was just going to ask if it would be possible for us for Craig at least, to be notified of these letters as they come in. He puts them on social media. Then I generally do something on Facebook saying how many there are and who they are. And there were a few in there that caught me by surprise, including the town of Turner Valley, and the summer village of Sandy Beach, and also the Lubicon Lake Band is our first Alberta reserve to First Nation to sign our endorsement, and that's very big. And Lundbreck we didn't know about either, so or it wasn't on my list, and so I guess I'm just wondering. And I did have a specific question. There's a letter there from the city of Leduc that looks like they might have endorsed the policy, but they didn't actually fill out the endorsement. And I'm just wondering if whoever handles these things can just confirm that Leduc did endorse, or do we need to go back and double check with them?
Mayor Snodgrass, through to Councillor Masperin, the letter certainly indicates that they are requesting that it all be put on pause, but we can certainly ask if they've considered endorsement. We can go back to them.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
May I just speak to Councillor Masterman's question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I wondered that at first too, but then on page 122, they did send their own letter asking for pause. So I think they just accidentally sent that blank thing, or I wasn't sure if it was kind of like a message. I didn't know, but then I did see their separate letter.
Yeah, I did note the earlier letter, and we had that in our tally, the earlier letter. But what I just wasn't sure about was whether they had actually endorsed our policy that we approved last month, basically saying no new coal development at all on the eastern slopes, which is a lot stronger than the letter that is also there. But yeah, I appreciate that, Councillor McMillan. Thanks.
So yeah, not all of these, not everybody is. Most communities are CCing me on their correspondence coming back, but some have gone directly just to me, and some have gone just to Ledge Services. So, you know what I'm going to ask, if Bruce and Chris, if you guys can coordinate your two lists, because Bruce, like I'm keeping all the letters to compile for the report back to the policy committee, but I don't have a spreadsheet or a list right now. So if you guys can coordinate and make sure who's got what. One I missed to put it on Facebook and stuff. I did see it come through, was Turner Valley. I did see that come through, and I think I responded to them as well, but just got busy and didn't do the Facebook stuff. So we'll get the list, and then we'll figure out where we're at.
It's if I could, Mr. Mayor, I think we're now at 23 Alberta municipalities that have endorsed the policy, and 2 reserves, including the Lubicon and also Smith's Landing, which is actually in the Northwest Territories. I don't even know how they got our endorsement, but I thought it just went to Alberta First Nations, and there's also 5 organizations and 1 business have all endorsed as well. So, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Mayor, you put on the letter that you'd like to get all the responses back by July 15th. So we should know by then kind of what the tally is, and it's important because this is what the mayor will be presenting to the coal committee as well, the public consultation committee. So that's why it's another reason why it's really important that we make sure we have them all counted. So thanks.
Yeah, if you guys can reconcile that. And on to the Smith's Landing First Nations, I actually got a phone call and spoke with Chief Cheesy, because they basically sit right on the border. He got his hands on it because he was all over it, wanting to fight this, because they have drastic effects in their waterways because of the oil sands up north. And so he was all over and wanting to help us out down here. So it was a great conversation, actually, to learn what they're dealing with up there as well. So he said, I just don't want you guys having to go through with what we're going to have to go through forever. So good conversation, but that's kind of where that came from. He found it somehow, and even with, I think there's 2 municipalities, one in Alberta and one in Northwest Territories, that kind of sitting there. So I think that's how he got his hands on it and was all over it. So good news. And we've got so many people endorsing this, it's becoming an excellent problem that we can't keep track. That's pretty awesome. I would like to see the big boys being Calgary and Edmonton, the big communities getting involved in this and making a decision on it, though. I will say that. And I've been encouraging Mayor Nenshi to do that, to bring it forward to his council. So COVID-19 update, Chris, what do you got?
Not much else to report. We're still sitting at 7 active cases. We're sitting at about 56.4% vaccination rate within our boundaries of those 12 and older. We are starting to move forward with reopening, all aspects of our operation. We'll have a gradual return to work, of course, within this office space to support our staff and make sure that that they can return in a safe manner and that we're not shocking the system, so to speak. But other than that, we're continuing to monitor and watch exactly what takes place within the community and being prepared to act when we can and how we adjust as we move along this, through this reopening plan too.
Perfect.
So that's all I have.
Thank you very much, sir. Final motion is the correspondence requiring action. This is another housekeeping thing that we do every year. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Cooey that council authorize the mayor to sign the letter of support for the High River Hot Air Balloon Festival.
I will happily give you that motion and look forward to the festival.
Thank you very much. All in favor? Motion carries. That's it. Meeting adjourned, 4:07. Thank you very much.